Everyone, I hope you're having an amazing day. So today I'm gonna start a platform app builder certification series. So I've done one for platform developer one. So if you're after platform developer one, you can go and check out my playlist. I'll put the link in the description below. Right. So platform app builder certification, right? It's one of the important certification uh, if you're someone who wanted to get into Salesforce mostly as a functional consultant, and even if you're a developer, right, you still need to know when to do stuff using point and click rather than using code. So app builder certification will teach you those kind of things. It's mostly on the Lightning platform. And the important part of the app builder certification is that you don't have to know any Apex or um, Lightning component development using code. So we're going to do everything using point and click here. So, right. So if you're someone who has never done programming before, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. So this certificate will not expect you to know any sort of programming, object-oriented programming or whatever, right? Cool. So first thing first, so today it's all about housekeeping, and I'm gonna walk you through how to create a set up an org, and we're gonna look at the exam guide, and then we're gonna look at the content we're gonna cover and the place where I'll be using Trailhead mostly to teach, right? Because Trailhead has organized everything in a very nice and easy way. So I will use the Trailhead content to demonstrate stuff as we go along with the course. Cool. Right. The first thing first, right? So you need to go to trailhead.salesforce.com credentials. So I'll put the link below. So don't worry about copying or writing down the link. Everything will be in the description. So right. So we're gonna get the exam guide, right? So if you go to exam guide, it will take you to this, right? Nice and easy page. So the first thing for so this is a multiple choice exam, right? And then and sometimes you might get 65 where so might get which will not be out of which 5 questions will not be counted, and time allotted is 105 minutes, and the passing score is 63, which is lower compared to platform dev or admin, right? So which is great. But at the same time, it's a little bit harder compared to admin certification. The cost for taking this certification is USD $200. But if you fail for whatever reason, you can retake it by paying $100, right? Cool. So you can go to the testing centers, right, and then to give a test, or if you don't want to visit anywhere, right, since these days people are in a lockdown due to COVID across the world, right? So you can always schedule for an online exam. Excuse me. So that's one of the housekeeping in terms of exams, right? The things you need to wear about, and when you go to a test center, you need to bring 2 ID. At least in New Zealand, they ask for 2 IDs. So one is the government ID. You can carry a passport or a driver license, whatever, right? Okay, so let's look at the exam guide, right? So that's where it gets interesting, right? So, App Builder comprises of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sections, right? The Salesforce fundamentals, which carries 8% weightage, right? So, which mostly talks about the capabilities, CRM objects, and then scenario, to identify the boundaries of declarative customization and the use of programming, and then you will talk about other stuff as well. And we're going to look at App Exchange and kind of stuff, right? So it's very limited what they mention here, but we're going to cover more as we go along with the course, right? So everything will get clear for you. So 8% weightage, you need to know accounts, you need to know how to create a custom object, you need to, add fields and kind of stuff. We'll talk about it, right? If these kind of things sounds alien to you, don't worry. I'll try to cover everything from the very ground up, from the very basics. But I will highly encourage you to have a little bit of understanding about Salesforce before you dive into platform app developer certification, right? You need to have a little bit of hands-on experience, right? And if you're someone who's completely new to Salesforce, right, never seen Salesforce before, then I'm not so sure that whether it's the right time for you to go and take Salesforce certification, because certification is not about going and taking an exam and just clearing it and then say, oh, I'm done, my job is done. No, that's not exactly it's all about. Certification, it's a measure to test your knowledge, right? If you're someone who's been working with Salesforce for a couple of years, right, who are a functional consultant or a technical consultant or a developer, right, this certification will suit them very well, right? Or if you're someone who's been working with Salesforce as a user, or who wanted to make a transition to a consultancy or development or implementation, right, background, then this certification will give you that edge, right? I mean, having a certification will not guarantee that you will get the role you want, but it's an extra thing in your good to have in your CV, right? Or right, okay. Sorry, enough of digression. Sorry, my apologies for that. So now the next one, the data modeling. So that's 20%, right? So you talk about data models, field type, kind of stuff, right? And then we have security, which is very important, 10%. It's okay. I mean, it's not much, but you still need to know about the security, which is very important. Then the business logic and process automation, even for a platform dev one, business logic and process automation always way higher compared to other sections. So either one, if you are going to take a platform dev one or app builder, you need to know process automation and business logic very well, right? So you need to know about process builder, flows. Flows are very important, right? Because if you are a functional consultant, you need to know the flow very well, right? Because flows, with flows you can do a lot of things. You don't have to code, but at times there is a limitation to flows as well. And then you need to know about validation rules. So when I talk about validation rules, right, we won't be writing any Apex code here, but you need to know how to write a formula and kind of stuff, right, which is not really code, but so that's why I mentioned that, capabilities or use cases, the formula field. So that's tied very well together with the validation rules. Then workflows are important, right? But workflows, they are not doing much development on workflow. But that being said, a lot of orgs out there, they still use workflows. So Salesforce often says you need to, it's always good to try use a process builder. That's where the old innovations is happening. But that being said, if it's good to know about the workflow as well. So approval process, very important, right? And yeah, so. And then we go to social, so 3%. So we're gonna look at it when we talk about social, right? And then we have user interface, right? So you need to talk about, you need to know about the custom links and buttons and actions, and how to do stuff in the Lightning, right? A Lightning app builder, right? So you will get to know about this stuff, right? 14%, so still have a very decent weightage, right? Then you talk about report, it's just 5%, so type of reports, right? Whether you can create a summary report or tabular or a matrix. So we'll talk about it. Reporting is very cool part of Salesforce. And then we talk about the mobile, so that's 5% weightage. So you need to know about mobile, Salesforce mobile application user interface. So we're gonna look into that as well. And then the final section is the app development, which is 8%. So you need to understand how to use the chain set, because that's very useful for deployment, right? And then you need to understand the application lifestyle, and then you need to know about the managed and unmanaged packages, and the deployment plan, because if you're an implementation consultant, right, you need to know how to deploy stuff, right? You can use Chainset or you can use a third-party gear set, right? But you still know how to deploy, how to refresh a partial sandbox, how to refresh a sandbox, how to deploy a component to a production. So these are all things you should know if you are someone who's aspiring to be a platform app builder, right? Because the thing is that it's not only the code side which you'll be helping with the deployment. You will have to deploy other metadata, right? You need to deploy the custom settings. You need to deploy the objects, fields. So you need to know how to use the chain set. If you're not using chain set, other stuff, right? And this is more about understanding the entire process, right? So yeah, so that's pretty much about the exam guide perspective. So I hope you're excited, right? Because it's not too much, but it might look overwhelming at this point of time because we are starting at this point of time. So that's why, things might look very complicated and overwhelming. But don't you worry, I will try to explain in a very simple manner. My main goal of doing this certification, so that to give you as much as knowledge I can based on my experience working in the different companies, right? So I work I work in a consulting firm as a lead tech consultant. So I do a lot of integration and do customization using point and click as well. So based on the things I've learned from a real life experience, right, I will try to share with you guys as I go along with the course wherever I feel there's a need to it, right? And I try to keep this course as simple as I can, but I will highly encourage you to please spend time learning by yourself, practicing it, right? Trailhead is the best place. Just please don't rely only on my videos for certification. I would highly encourage you to practice, right? You need to practice every day when you get a chance. Please practice at least some time if you are aspiring to clear the certification. If you're someone who never used Salesforce before, I would say that you will need at least 4 to 6 months to clear the certification. I've been very honest and realistic about it. There's no point in using dumps to clear the certification because the thing is that you go for an interview. If you don't understand the scenario, a person will say, look, have you used dumps, right? Because it's no point in getting a certification using dumps. That's my personal opinion, right? It's just kind of doing injustice to a certification, right? You're cheating yourself. You're not cheating someone else, right? So if you're someone who thinks that you need to use dumps, then I would ask you to reconsider your decision for taking the certification because it's not worth it taking. Just because it looks good on your CV, it doesn't matter, right? Because certification will lose the value if you can't answer the question, a basic question, right? So I'm all for fairness. I like certification, but at the same time I prefer people to be honest about it, right? Because we need to have an amazing Salesforce people out there, right? Not someone who fake stuff using dumps, right? My apologies if I'm sound rude, but dumps is a big no for me, right? Cool. Okay. So what we're gonna do? So we're gonna go back to the same page, right? So there is a study and prepare. So I'm going to use this, click on this link. I'll put the link in the description below. So it will take you to here. Right? I'm going to use the same content to teach you guys about the certification. Right? We're going to talk about, Lightning experience customization, Service Cloud experience, leads and opportunities, data modeling, data management, pick list administration, duplicate management, data security, identity basics. I'm not going to do the super batch. I will encourage you guys to do the super batch once you finish a module so that you can test your knowledge to see whether you really understood the concept. Okay, so then we gonna talk about business logic and as we go along, progress with the course. So I will not be making the video every day. I will give a gap of a day so that you guys can get enough time to practice and do hands-on, right? That's my main intention. And as I said, I don't charge a penny for this course because I believe knowledge should be free. That's my personal opinion, because everyone should be entitled for a knowledge, right? And plus, I'm not doing anything great. It's out there in a trailer, right? So I'm just converting that to video. But that being said, right, I have no problem with people who want to charge. I respect people's time and energy. So if someone wants to charge, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's their thing. I'm not going to judge. I mean, big respect to them because they're creating amazing content out there. So my main intention is to help out who can't afford, to pay for the course. So that's my main purpose is all about. Okay, so now enough of talking, enough of blah blah. So now I hope you understood that what we're gonna do, in this series, right? So I won't be talking anything about Salesforce today. So this is all housekeeping stuff. So we're gonna use this guide, right? And then this is your Salesforce exam guide. Just have a look at it, right? Go to this page, and then and then look at it. Okay, now what we're gonna do is that I'm gonna teach you how to register for an org, right? So it's easy to register for an org and it's free. We're gonna use the developer org. I've already have an org registered, so which I used to teach Platform Dev 1. I'm gonna use the same org to teach App Builder as well. But that being said, if you're someone who never used Salesforce before, so this is a great opportunity for you to get your hands dirty right from the day one. It's by going to developer.salesforce.com. So when you go to this page, right, now you might wonder, right, why developer.salesforce.com? Because this is the website, this is the link Salesforce has given us. Even if you're an admin, even if you're a consultant, you still need to use the same login to register for a free org, right? So, and my sincere advice is that if you're someone who's working at a client place, right, please do not use Client Sandbox for any sort of testing, right? It's not good because you're using someone else's environment. So I always encourage you to use your own free org. It's free to use. You can muck around whatever you want, right? Who cares? But please don't muck around with the client data, right? It's confidential, and you're not supposed to do that, right? Cool. Okay, so go to developer.salesforce.com, and then you go to sign up, and right, and you fill in your information here, and the first name, last name, email, whatever, right? So one thing, the username, right, it has to be unique across the org. And it should be in the form of a email address, as you can see that here, right? So you can't put your name, it has to be, you can put your name, that's fine, but it has to be in the form of email address. You can't put first dot last name. No, it's more work. It has to be in the form of an email, right? Something like this, you can see. And then, you can, and please put the company name, whatever the company name you want the org to represent, right? I named my org as the Wilson Brewery as a fictitious brewer name, right? So you can put whatever name you want, right? As long as it makes sense to you. Then you sign me up. Then you'll get an email. Please check your email, right? When you get an email, right? So now you can put a fake username. That's fine, in form of email. But please put the correct valid email here, right? So that's pretty much. I will encourage you to do that. Ask you to do that. And then once you do that, you need to go to your whatever email email address, and then you might get a code. So you can get a link. Click on that. It will ask you to enter the username and password, and that's it. And then after that, you go to login.salesforce.com, and you enter the username, right? The username of here, and the password, right? So when you enter the first time, it will ask you to enter the code, right? So you need to go back to your email again. Salesforce would have sent you a code. So punch in the code, and there will be an option to allow or deny. So give allow, so that there you are, you're in, right? So once you're in, you will get something like this, right? So nice and easy. So I'm just gonna walk you a little bit about interface before I'm not gonna do much, but so when you log in for the first time, right? So you get something similar like that, depending upon the time of the year you're watching the course or which way you're watching the course, right? So so we have home setup and nice and easy, pretty looking interface, right? So these are the setups here where you will do most of the settings. Setup, you can understand, right? Where you do all kind of settings which user may not be interested to put their hands on, right? So this is mostly done by admin, right? And so if you're a user, you won't be fiddling with it. So so the most common thing we normally do is that creating a user. So you go here, and so when you go to users, right? Just and then you're gonna, you can create a new user, and then that user will using that user, person can log in. So when you register, right, for the first time, right, using here, so you'll be by default given a sysadmin uh, profile. So that means you have right to do everything, right? So and you can create other users based on that. So this is one of the things. And if you're not sure about one setup, you can always come and search here, right? The cube find, very nice and easy. And then object manager is where we're gonna do most of our stuff. This is where objects are located. So I don't want to get detail into it. We're going to talk about it in our next lecture. So just going to give you a rundown about a detour of Salesforce interface, right? So we got two kinds of interface, right? I forgot to tell you that. Lightning and classic. So we are in the lightning mode, right? So you can go to classic if you want, but classic is Salesforce encourages you to use the lightning. That's the feature, right? But by all means, if you wanted to go to classic, you can do that. So you see this icon here, right, on the top right corner. So you can see that switch to classic, Salesforce Classic. This is an old. So this is how it used to look before, but we are not going to do anything with the classic. So this is completely a lightning experience. So we can go back to lightning. So go to switch to lightning here. So right, so when you go to lighting, so you get, now you wonder what happened, right? We were in a different page. Don't you worry. So what happened, it will take you to sales dashboard. Now you might wonder what sales dashboard, right? So I'll tell you where we are before. So we were here, something called setup, right? So we were somewhere here, right? So now I wanted to take you to this page, right? So the way to go to this page is, let me close this boy here, right? And then it's easier. So you go to this tic-tac-toe icon, right? And then you can search for sales, right? So it's an app, right? It takes you to this page, right, where you can see a lot of options here. These all are an objects, or you can say the tabs. And these all are pages, right? Dashboards. So I don't wanted to go detail into it. So these are, so these are apps, in terms of Salesforce, which is mostly tabs and pages, basically, right? So these are lightning pages. You can customize it using code or using point and click, but we're not going to use any code. So if you are a platform developer, right, who used to code, and you often end up by going to here and developer console. We won't be doing anything with the developer console here because we're not going to write code, right? So fortunately, we don't have to write code, right? If you are someone who's afraid of writing code, don't you worry, you don't have to write code. Right, so that's all I want to talk about this today. So I hope you find some value out of it. So if you're someone who wanted to prepare for a platform app developer, then this course will give you that edge. Right, I'll try my best to give you as much as information I can, right, so that you feel confident, and after the end of this course, you feel fairly confident, take the certification. But that being said, I will highly encourage you to do lots of hands-on. Trailhead is the best place. You please go and do the challenges. It's very important. You need to feel confident. You need to understand the concept, right? So I can't emphasize enough on that. So yeah, that being said, that's all I wanted to talk about today. So greetings and adios from New Zealand. Take care. Bye bye.